In season Nevada here, going over 4 different techniques on how to hunt jackrabbits. We got 3 of these techniques on camera here today. The 4th one we'll just talk about verbally. Now, why would you want to hunt jackrabbits? Well, their furs can actually be used, and they're very sustainable animals, so it's great for fur bearing. But also, their meat is quite tender and tasty as well. Now, if you like eating duck, jackrabbit is a lot like duck, except for tasting like pond water. It tastes a little bit more like sagebrush. Some people do talk about the tularemia, so I would just recommend that you cook your jackrabbit up to 160 degrees, and that should kill most diseases. But not a biologist, not a diseaseologist, or any kind of doctor, so don't take my health advice. But without any further ado, let's go into the first technique here, which is walking around in the early morning hours. If you do not have a buddy or a dog, this is probably one of the best techniques that you can do. What you want to do is you want to find an area where there's water, roads, and areas where there are no water and roads nearby. So essentially you have to have some bedding habitat where they can escape into. And the reason for the road is you can't shoot a rabbit that's on the road. There is a rabbit in front of me right now. He's about maybe 50 or 60 yards away. So he's right at that distance where he can't see me very well. Because I'm standing still and it's kind of dark. The camera's not picking him up very well, but he can't really see me. But if I were to walk around, he could hear me. Right now he's facing to the left, and he's about to turn around and face to the right here. And then he's going to turn around and face to the left again. So he's out there. He's to the left of that little bush. Hopefully you can see him. But it is an effective way to spot them. And so if that jackrabbit were to run to the left, there's some openings in the sagebrush where if you were to stop in one of those openings, I could snipe him with a 22 simply by walking back into the brush off the road and taking a shot. You cannot shoot across or along a road in Nevada. And also there's private property to my left. So always respect private property lines as well. Don't want to see guys trespassing over jackrabbits, all right? There's plenty of opportunities to hunt jackrabbits. In case you don't know, they live in a cycle. So they have a boom and bust cycle where certain years they start booming and they kind of rally and they have some momentum and there's a lot of them. And then other years we have a bust year and then there's not as many. And it's kind of hard to find them and it kind of dries up. So we're in one of those boom years. So if you're watching this video sometime around 2025, 2026, 2027, these should be booming years for jackrabbits because we're coming off kind of some lean years previously in 2022, 2023. Those were some lighter years for jackrabbits where there weren't quite as many. So, but anyway, we're walking along the road here, just looking for opportunities to shoot them at a distance. Like I said, I'm using a 22 long rifle mainly because in the morning they're going to be able to detect you a lot easier because they're feeding in those fields at night. They're getting water at night. They're using the road at night, right? And so in the early morning, they're already there and they're already awake. Versus in the daytime, they're sleeping and so they're going to get a lot closer to you. Speaking of the daytime, here we are. And I've spotted a jackrabbit and he flushed. And if you know anything about hunting jackrabbits in the daytime, they will not flush very far. They will go the very minimum amount of distance that they think that they can do in order to hide from you. So at night, they're typically trying to get away from you, and they'll run, when I say far, like they'll run 200 or 300 yards at night, versus in the daytime, they might only run like 50, maybe 60 yards. And there he is. He flushes around 5 yards away from me. I miss. Hit him on the second shot here. Now, I got an issue with my shotgun. I had some issues with my hand loads. They weren't sealing very well, so the recoil from the first shot was making the second shot kind of loose and lose a little bit of pressure, and so I didn't get a very good hit. So pro tip here, if you're aiming at a wounded or a sitting still jackrabbit with a shotgun, aim at the base of the ears, and you'll be able to preserve the meat, and you won't see them running off because that gives you the best chance of hitting the brain without ruining any meat. A couple of other tips for hunting in the middle of the day. This is the best time for social hour, right? Because the jackrabbits are sleeping. it's a lot easier to get closer to them, and you don't have to wake up early in the morning. As a matter of fact, it's better if you don't wake up early in the morning. But a dog is always going to beat a group of people, and a group of people is always going to beat a single person when it comes to hunting in the middle of the day. The more boots you have on the ground, the more disturbances you have in the brush, the more rabbits you will flush up. I don't believe in intentionally making noise in order to flush jackrabbits. They will see you and they will flush. So a really good technique is if you're alone, take about 5 or 10 steps and then stop. And then take about another 5 or 10 steps and stop. And just keep doing that same pattern over and over and over again. And you will actually flush up jackrabbits a little bit further away from you. And that might sound like a bad thing, but it's really a good thing. Because if they're flushing at 5 yards away from you, think of it this way. You're walking right past a jackrabbit that's probably 10 yards away. And they're so well camouflaged, you probably won't see them. So if you stand there kind of still, you'll make them nervous. And they might start flushing at 10 yards instead of 5 yards. All right, here we're in the late afternoon. The sun's about to set, and the truck is off to my right, and there's a farm behind my truck, and there's a road there. It's in the same spot that I was hunting in the morning, but a little bit different. You see this open terrain here? Instead of walking right next to the road, I'm walking through this open terrain. And the reason for that is the rabbits will run across this open terrain to get from bedding habitat to that water and to that feeding area and to that road where they can run for safety. Think logically here. Usain Bolt isn't setting world records running through sagebrush. He's running on a paved asphalt track, right? Same thing with these jackrabbits, right? They will run way faster on the road than they will through the sagebrush. And when it comes to evading coyotes, they want every single advantage that they can get. So sitting still on a game trail is a really good technique in order to find some jackrabbits. They will run right up to you if you're sitting still, but generally speaking, if you're standing up, they'll see you at around 50 to 60 yards away and avoid you. So it's best that you use a rifle in the early morning hours and in the late evening hours. And this is one of those times of day where having a bunch of people doesn't necessarily help you out. The more people you have near you during these times of day just makes it easier for the jackrabbits to avoid you. So for solo hunting, early morning and late evening is best. For hunting with a group, hunting in the middle of the day is best. So that's just a little pro tip to help you with your strategy. If you have a partner and you don't have a dog, spotlighting is also a fantastic technique. However, understand that there are different counties in Nevada with laws against spotlighting. But in the counties where you are allowed to spotlight, here's how you do it. You spot a rabbit with a flashlight or the headlights, right? You have to wait until the rabbit leaves the road. When the rabbit does leave the road, one person stays at the vehicle with a flashlight and illuminates the rabbit, and the other person walks into the field after the rabbit. When both people are when both the rabbit and the person is off the road and it is safe to shoot, then you can shoot, right? I'm always going to encourage you guys, follow the laws, don't trespass on private property, don't litter, right? As you can see, I'm walking around here, there's no boot prints around here, right? I'm walking around here, there's no shotgun shells, there's nothing, right? Nobody's going to know that a person was hunting here except for my boot prints, right? But if they saw a whole bunch of trash and shells, then they'd be hunting here too. And then, this spot would be blown out. But also, the more trash you leave behind, the more dangerous situations you create, the more likely it is for people to create regulations against hunting jackrabbits, right? Either creating some kind of a season or some kind of a limit on these animals. So make sure you're being respectful out there. Do appreciate you for watching. I don't want to get preachy on here, but jackrabbits are a really great time, and I hope you have some fun. Hopefully you learned something in this video here.